In 2016, an image went viral around the world.
The heartbreaking picture showed a volunteer giving food and water to a child who was abandoned and thought to be a child witch. The child was naked and very thin. This picture surprised everyone and has already been seen by many. But some people don't know what happened to this little boy after 7 years. Find out by watching the whole video. Remember to like the video, follow
Little
the channel,
Hope stayed in the
and click the bell
family-type
icon to be
orphanage,
notified
where
when I
Anja
post a
stepped
new
in to
video.
perform the
Let's
role
keep
of his
going.
mother.
In
A year
Akwa Ibom
later,
State,
the
where
boy had
was
recovered
found
completely
calling a
and
child a
even
witch is
started
against the
school.
law, but
Judging
some
by
groups
this
still do
footage,
it.
you can see that
Witchcraft
Hope is
beliefs
now
touch
completely
people all
healthy
over the world.
and doesn't look
Children
anything
who are
like the
thought to
poor
be
child
witches
that was
are
found
often
on the
shunned
road.
and left by their families
Since
and towns.
2016,
In some
Hope
cases,
has been
they are
living in the
even killed.
orphanage that Anja
Without
and
any
her
help,
husband
these
opened in
kids are very
southeastern
likely to die
Nigeria for
from not
children
getting
who
enough
ended
food.
up on the street
They also can't
due
go
to
to school because
superstitions.
kids who
It's
are
a
thought to
good
be
and
witches
kind
are not
place.
allowed to.
They all
In
live as
Nigeria,
one big
religious
family
leaders
there,
often say
and
that
every
little
child
kids
is
are
treated
witches
like
so
their
that the
own,
kids' parents will
getting
pay
lots
for
of
an
love
exorcism.
and affection,
Parents
which is
often don't
exactly
want
what
to
they
or
need
can't
so
pay
much.
for the service,
Looking at
which
this
is a
photo
shame.
where Hope is
So,
smiling
in
sweetly,
case they are found to
looking
be
into his
witches, they
eyes,
decide to just
it's hard
leave
to
their
even
child.
believe that
The
someone
parents
could
of
have
the boy
accused
in the
this
picture
sweet
were
child
no
of
different,
witchcraft
because their
and
son
left
was
him to
thought
certain
be a
death.
witch. They just
Just
left him
1
out
year
on
of
the
love
street.
and care
This
showed the
meant that
child a
skinny
completely
little boy
different
who
way
couldn't
of
get
life.
food or even water
Now,
was about to
no
die
one
of
can
thirst.
even recognize
He was
this
said to have
smiling
been living
boy as
alone
the
for 8
thin,
months,
malnourished,
getting food
skeleton
scraps
boy
from
he
people
once
walking
was.
by and looking
It is
through
also
trash for
worth
food.
noting that Anja
Still,
is
no one
married
seemed
to a
to care about the
Nigerian
poor
man
kid.
named David,
People didn't
and together
even
they
notice
run a
him.
help center
And
for
it's easy
abandoned
to
babies.
imagine what would have
Children
happened
there
to the
get
child
food,
if Anya
shelter,
Ringler, a
met as
Danish
witches.
worker from an aid group,
The parents of the
hadn't
boy
seen
in
the
the
hungry
photo
child
were no
left on a
exception.
dusty road.
They
When the
simply
woman
left
saw
their
the little
son
boy
out on the street because
she
he was
stopped her
accused
car
of being
right
a
away
witch.
and carefully gave the
Thus,
child water.
the emaciated
After
little
that,
boy who
she
had
picked
no
him up
access
and
to
took him to the
food
closest
or even
hospital,
water was
where
on
he
the
was
verge
given
of
medicine.
starvation.
The boy had to
He
be
had
treated for
reportedly
bugs
been
in his
living on
stomach
his
and
own
for
for
not
around
having enough
8
red
months,
blood cells.
eating scraps
These were
of
just a
food from
few of the things
passersby
he needed to
and
be treated
scavenging
for.
for food in the
Anya
garbage.
quickly shared a
And
video
yet,
of herself
no one
giving
seemed
the
to
little
pay
boy
attention
water
to the
to
poor
bring
kid.
attention to the terrible
People
problem
just
of
walked
child
past
witches
him.
and to raise
And
money
it
for his
isn't hard to
medical
guess
bills.
what would have
People
happened
all
to the
over the
little
world
child
shared
if
the
the
pictures
Danish
and video,
volunteer from the aid
and the little boy's
organization
story moved
named
millions of
Anja
people.
Ringren
People were
hadn't
moved by
noticed
boy's
the
story
starving,
and gave
abandoned
more than $1
child
million
on one of the
to
dusty
African
roads.
Children's Aid Education
Seeing this
and
little boy
Development
on the
Foundation.
street, the woman
group
immediately
loving started to
stopped the
help
car and
Nigeria's
carefully
so-called
gave the child
witch
water.
children.
After
Soon
which,
after,
she picked him up and
Anya
took him
chose
to
to
the
adopt
nearest
him and
hospital
gave
where
him
the
the
boy
name
was
Hope.
prescribed
She
treatment.
wrote,
The
"The
boy
day I
had to
held
get
this
treatment
sweet
for
little boy
gastric
for the first
parasites
time,
and
I
needed
was so
blood
sure he would not
transfusions to
live.
combat red
He had
blood
to work
cell
hard for
deficiencies.
every breath. I
And
didn't
it was
want him
only
to
a
die
little part
without a
of what he
name or
needed
any
treatment
respect.
for.
So I gave him the
Soon
name
after
Hope.
the rescue,
Hope fully
Anja
recovered
shared a
2
video
months
of
after she
herself
began
giving
treatment.
water to the little
He has
boy
gone through an
to raise
amazing
awareness
change
about
since
the
then.
tragic
He is
problem of
stronger
child
and happier
witches
than ever,
and to raise
and he
money
even
for his
plays with
medical
other
needs.
kids.
The
Little
photos
Hope
and
stayed in the
video went
orphanage that
viral,
was set up
and the
like a
little
family,
boy's story
and
touched
Anya
the hearts
took
of
over as his
millions.
mother.
The boy's
After a
story
year, the
inspired
boy was
people to
fully
donate
better
over
and had
$1
even
million
started school.
to
This
the
video
African
shows that
Children's
Hope
Aid
is now
Education
completely healthy
and Development
and doesn't look at
Foundation,
all like the
a
sick child who
nonprofit
was
founded
found
by
on the side of the
Lovin that
road.
rescues
Hope has been
Nigeria's
living with Anya and
so-called
her
witch
husband's
children.
orphanage in southeastern
Soon
Nigeria
after
since
this,
2016.
Anja decided to adopt
The
him
orphanage
and
is
named
for
him
kids who
Hope.
were left
She
on the
said,
street because of fears.
"Today I carried
It is
this
a
sweet
nice
little
and good
boy
spot.
in my arms
That's
for the
where
very
they all
first
live
time.
together as
I
one
was
big
so
family.
sure he would not
Each child
survive.
is loved
Every
and cared
breath
for
he
like
took
their
was a
own,
medical treatment
which is
and
exactly what they
education.
need.
But
It's
most
hard to believe
importantly,
that
they
someone
get a
could have
family
charged
that
this
loves
sweet
them and
child with
cares for
witchcraft
them.
and left him to die.
Anja
When
and
you look at
David
this picture
also
of
have
Hope
their own
smiling
child,
and looking into
David
his eyes.
Jr., who has
Giving
been
the
living
child
with the
love
orphan
and
children
care for
since
1 year
birth.
changed everything
Moreover,
about their
it
life.
so happened
No
that
one
David
can even
Jr.
tell the
and
difference
Hope are
between
about the
this
same
happy boy
age.
and the
When
skinny,
Hope was
hungry
brought
boy
to the
he used to
center,
be.
David was the
Also,
first person
Anya is
whom the
married to a
frightened boy
Nigerian
began
man
to
named
communicate
David.
with.
and the two of them
and
run
now
the
they have
center to
become
help
best
kids
friends.
who have been left
In
behind.
2022,
Their kids get
Hope
food, a
reunited
place
with
to
his
stay,
father.
medical care,
In a
and an
Facebook
education.
post,
The
Anja
most
shared
important
photos
thing
of
is that
Hope
they
with
get
his
a
father,
family that loves
and the
and
boy
cares
looked
for
happy
them.
to see him.
The children who live with
In
Anya
September
and David also have a
2023,
kid named
Lovin
David Jr.
revealed that Hope had
He or
finally
she
met
has
his
lived
mother.
with the young
According to
children
the
since
aid
birth.
worker,
It also
Hope's
happened
mother,
that
who was a
David Jr.
minor at
and
the
Hope are
time,
about
was
the same
impregnated
age.
by his
Once
father,
Hope was
a
brought to the
village head
center,
almost 50
David
years
was the
old,
first person
who
the
had
scared
chosen
boy
her as a
talked to.
wife.
Since then,
and she gave
the two
birth
have
to
become
Hope
best
at the
friends.
age only of
Hope
15.
got back together with
Hope's
his
mother
dad
has
in
since stayed with
2022.
him for a
Anya
while
wrote
and
on
developed a
Facebook that
close
she had
bond with
pictures
him.
of Hope with his
It
dad.
took some
The
time
boy
for
looked
Hope to
happy
forgive
see
her,
his dad.
but in his
When we got
story,
home,
his mother
Hope
is
took my
portrayed
phone
as
and couldn't
innocent.
wait to show the kids
Today,
the pictures
Hope
of him
has
and
grown
his
so
dad.
much stronger.
Just like every other
He
kid
still
does
lives at
after
the
coming back from a
Don't
home
forget
visit,
to like
she
the
said.
video,
Lovin
subscribe to
also
the channel,
told everyone
and
in
hit the
September
bell icon to get
2023 that
notified
Hope
as I
had finally
upload a
met
new
his
video.
mother.
Let's
Aid
go
Worker
on.
said Hope's father,
Even
who
though
was
it's a
village
criminal
head and
offense
almost
in
50 years old at the
Ibom
time,
State, where the
picked
little
his
boy
mother,
was found,
who was a minor
to
at the
label a
time, to
child
be
as a
his
witch.
wife.
The practice
She had
still
Hope
persists
when she was
in
only
some
15 years
communities.
old. He has
Belief
become
in
close with Hope's
witchcraft
mother
affects
after she
people
stayed with him
worldwide.
for a while. Hope
Children
didn't
accused
forgive her
of being
right away,
witches are often
but in his story,
ostracized and
his mother
abandoned by
is
their
shown to be
families and
innocent.
communities.
Hope is much
They also
stronger
get
now than
murdered
she
in
was
some
yesterday.
cases.
He stays
Without
at the
any
home
support,
and calls
these
Anya his
children
mother.
are at extreme
He helps
risk of
other
death
kids
from
too,
malnutrition.
and he does everything he
They are
can to
also
help his
denied
foster
access
parents
to
with their important
education,
work.
as
A new
schools will
home for
not
kids in
admit
need,
children
called the
suspected
Land
of
of Hope,
witchcraft.
is being built with
Religious
money
leaders
from
in
Anya's
Nigeria
charity foundation
often
in
accuse young
Nigeria.
children of
A huge
witchcraft
number of people
so that
from
their
all over
parents
the
will pay
world
them
gave
for
money to this
exorcism.
kind woman. A lot of people are still
Unfortunately, it
giving
often
what they
happens
can,
that the
and
parents
Anya
either don't
uses
have
the
the
money to
pay
save
for
more
the
lives.
service, or
Anya
they
says
simply
that
don't
seeing
want
these
to.
kids smile
And
is the
so,
best prize
they
she could
choose
ever
to
hope
just
for.
abandon their
Now,
child
Hope's
in
smile
case they get
stands for
captured.
hope. He is proof that when people work together toward the same
No one
goals,
can even recognize
great
the
things can
smiling
happen.
boy as the
We must
thin,
not forget that
malnourished,
even though Hope's
skeleton
story
boy
had a
he once
happy
was.
finish,
It is
many
also
other
worth
children
noting
still
that
live in
Anja is
terrible
married to a
situations.
Nigerian
What do you
man
think
named
about this
David,
story?
and together they
That's
run a
all there
help
is
center
to it.
for abandoned
If
babies.
you like the video
Children
and
there
want
get
more like
food,
it,
shelter,
please give it a thumbs up
no one
below.
can even
Don't
recognize
forget to
the
subscribe
smiling
to my
boy
channel
as the
and
thin,
click the bell icon to be
malnourished,
notified
skeleton
every
boy
week
he
when I
once
post
was.
a new video.
It is
Have you
also
done
worth
that
noting
yet?
that Anja is
Watch
married
out
to
for
a
the next
Nigerian
video.
man named